We are doing transformation notes, and this is one way that you will see this written. Sometimes you will actually see this written as not even with that, just a f of x. Oh, I forgot the. Oh, I don't even like the fact that it has the a there. Like b and then x minus h plus k. Okay, all it is it's kind of like a formula, okay? And so you may see this for the book, but we're not going to look at it like that. We're going to look at it like this, okay? Where all the stuff that's happening on the inside of the parentheses is something that's happening horizontally. So all of the stuff that's happening on the inside is the horizontal transformations, okay? Horizontal. And every time you think of this, we're going to think of the opposite, okay? We're going to think of the opposite operation. So when I look at this, I'm just going to look at it as f of dx minus h. That's the only parts that I'm going to think of it as right now, okay? Because that's all the horizontal stuff. So h is telling you left or right. Now, you may say to yourself, shift left for plus, that doesn't make sense. The reason it's doing that is because this has a minus sign right here. So if it was x minus 3, the x and the minus go with the formula, so this is actually a positive 3. So that's why it would go to the right. If it had said instead, let me pick a different color. I'll do this one. If instead it had said x plus 5, that's the same thing as saying x minus a negative 5. So this right here is in the negative direction, it would go left. So that is why it's doing that. Now, a horizontal stretch. Okay? Stretch means you make something bigger. Shrink makes something smaller. Now, normally you would think that a number that's between these numbers would be a shrink. But if I look over here at this information, I said we're doing the opposite operation on this. So we're talking about the opposite operation. So right now we have d times x. Well, if I was looking at coordinates, this would go to 1 over dx. Because what is the opposite operation of multiplication? It's division. Now, could you think of it as x over d? Yes, same thing. Okay? And then negative, if you see a negative, then it's going to be inside the parentheses. Sorry, a negative on the inside, you're going to flip over the y-axis. And some of you are like, why is it going over the y-axis? Well, if you think about the y-axis, this has positive x values, this has negative x values. So if you flip it over the y-axis, you're changing the x value to its opposite. Okay, so this has addition inside. So anytime you're talking about addition or subtraction, add or subtract, you're talking about a horizontal shift. Anything on the inside of the parentheses, if it is addition or subtraction, then it is going to be a horizontal shift. So this is going to shift, and that's going to go left. People are like, what? Right here, it says if it's a plus sign, it's going to go left. Over here, this is also going to shift because we have subtraction. So that's going to shift right. Now, this has a negative. Negative means that we're going to have a reflection. So this is going to reflect over the y-axis. And this, okay, has 4. Let's look up here. 4 is greater than 1, so it's going to be a horizontal shrink. So this is a horizontal shrink. Okay, so that's going to take the numbers from x, y. It's going to change it to 1/4 x, y. Because you do the opposite operation. The opposite operation of 4 times x is going to be x over 4, or 1/4 x. We're going to come here. Okay, this is going to be a horizontal, because it's on the inside. I don't even have to look and see what it is for that part, because it's on the inside of the parentheses. It's going to be horizontal something. So I come up here, and 1/4 is going to be a stretch, a horizontal stretch. Okay, it went from xy to 3x comma y. And this last one, we've got 2 things going on. We've got a negative going on. So we're going to, oops, that's supposed to be an R. Reflect over the y-axis. That should be a capital R. And then we are going to, okay, that's a 6. So 6 is between, or it's greater, sorry, it's greater than 1, so it's going to be a horizontal shrink. Oh, you know how they usually write it? They don't write it like that. A horizontal shrink of factor 6 is what that's how they say it in this book. Okay, right here, we're shifting, so that's addition or subtraction. So x, and if I'm going this direction, the formula says this, guys. The formula says this. So all I'm going to do is take this number right here, and I'm going to plug it in right there. So f of x minus 5. This next one, I'm going to do a shrink factor. Okay, so horizontal shrink is going to be greater than 1, so it's going to be 8. So f of 8x. This one, stretch. Stretch is between 0 and 1. So that means f of 1/6 x. Oh, and it has a reflection, so I need to make that negative. Okay. Let's come down here. These are in the wrong order. It should be horizontal shift. Then it should be a stretch or shrink. And then it should be a reflect. So right here, all we're doing is adding inside. So addition, remember, it's x minus a -3. So I'm going to shift left 3. So I'm going to come down here and move everything 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3. Okay, so then I draw a straight line here. Then I try to make it like a parabola. And voila. That was awesome. So remember, x minus h. So this number right here, that means it's going to shift to to the right. So I'm going to go 2 to the right. Right here, right here, right here, right here. Now, could I make a table with all the points? Sure. In fact, on this next one we are. Okay, some of you, oh no, not on this one. Okay.
Good morning, Riverhawks. Today begins with fourth period. You go to fourth period. Good morning, Riverhawks. Today begins with fourth period.
Okay, all sorts of stuff today. So this is, I'm going to reflect. Reflect over the y-axis. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to move from one side to the other. So this I go over 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I go over 1, 2. Oh, I go over 1 and 1. Here I go over 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then this one is like 1 and a little bit more. So 1 and a little bit more. So here how am I going to do this? I'm going backwards this time. Okay, it's pretty good, not bad. And there we go. We reflected it over the y-axis. Okay. On this one, we're going to write an equation. So y equals, and all we're going to be dealing with is this part right here. Because if I notice, it's the exact same thing. It's not bigger or smaller. All we did, we moved it over 1, 2, 3, 4. So y equals f of x, and we went in the negative direction 4 times. Okay, we're going to skip this next one because it has too many things. Now, the original one has the points -4, 2. This one has -2, 6. This has 0, 2. And this has -1, -3. This one has -8, 2. -4, 6. Is that right? Yeah. Again, 0, 2. And, oh, this isn't negative. Yeah, it is. And then this one is 2, -3. So if you notice, the ones that correspond with each other, look at this. The y values are the same. Y values are the same. Y's are the same. Y's are the same. So all we're doing is talking about the x values. So we went, I'm just going to pick one. Oops, I don't know why I did delete. I'm going to pick -4, and that became -8. So how did we go from -4 to -8? Well, didn't we multiply by 2? So that means I'm going to have a dilation, okay? But remember, whatever number is in here, it is the reverse, it's the inverse of it. So what's the inverse of timesing by 2? It's dividing by 2, or multiplying by the reciprocal. Okay, so now we need to go do the vertical changes. So now we're talking about the stuff that's on the outside. So this number that's here, and this number that's added over here. Okay, so if I am talking about a vertical shift, I'm not even going to change anything that's on the inside, just going to be looking at the stuff on the outside right now. So if it has a plus sign on the outside, that means we're going up. If it says minus, we're going down. Vertical stretch, those are the C values. Those are these values. If it's greater than 1, it gets bigger, it stretches. If it's between 0 and 1, it shrinks. And then the negative on the outside of the parenthesis reflects over the x-axis. Okay, so let's look at this. We're adding 2. So adding 2 means we're going to shift up. Getting all sorts of stuff in this video. Okay, this one's subtracting, so that means we're going to shift. Oh, I should have put the number down 5. So this one over here should have been shift up by 2. This one right here, it has the negative on the outside. That means we're going to reflect over the x-axis. And last but not least, oh, look at this. That is going to be, it's greater than 1, so it's going to be a vertical stretch. Stretch of a factor of 4, or by a factor of 4 or something like that. So then here, what are all the things that are doing? So if I start here, we've got a reflection over the x-axis. Then we've got a vertical stretch of 6. And then last but not least, we have a shift up of 4. Those are all the things that are happening in that. Okay, so then we come down here. Okay, we're going to write an equation. So the f of x part is not going to change. That part's going to stay the same. But it says we're going to shift up, and we're going to say, I forgot to write a number there. So we're going to say we shift up 6. So that means plus 6. Then we have a vertical stretch of factor of 2. 2. And that's all you do. We're going to do the one that's right below it, just so I don't have to move the thing. Okay, so again, it says a shift down of 7, so minus 7. And a vertical reflection. So I have a minus in front of the f of x. Everything is on the outside. Okay, on this one, we start with f of x. Vertical reflection, so that goes negative right there. Oops, I need to read it a little more. There we go. And a shrink of factor of that. So it's 1/8. Oops, I should have done a different color. I apologize. I was trying to be good about that. Okay, and then the last but not least, we have this. Okay, we have a vertical shrink of a factor of 6, so that's 1/6, and a shift down of 8. And that's all you do. On this one, the stretching or shrinking comes first, reflecting, and then the vertical shift. Okay. So this one says that we are going to go down 2. So I go down 2, down 2, down 2, down 2. And I draw my lines. Okay. This one. Did I really just do that? I did just do that. And nobody's in class to get me wrong. This goes up by 2. This is positive 2. It goes up by 2, not down by 2. I need to go back to bed. Let's see, 1, 2, 1, 2. There we go. This one is down 3. So I go down 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then over here. Okay, so I'm actually going to teach you a different way, or a way to do this so that it makes it a little easier. Sometimes you actually need to write the chart, okay? Because some people have a hard time with this. So we're going to actually write this chart. So this point right here is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. So -4, 1, 2, 3, 4, -4. This point is -1, 1. Then this is what? -1.25. And we go down -2.5. And then last but not least, 1, 2, 3, 4. Up 1, 2, 3. Oh, 4, 4. Okay. So this stuff right here is on the outside. So that means we have a reflection, vertical, vertical reflection, and a shrink of, it should be factor 2. But what that means is you're going to multiply by 1/2. So all you do on this to get the answers is you take -1/2 and you multiply it by the y. The x's are going to stay the same. The y changes. So I'm going to take the y value and multiply it by -1/2. And that's going to get me 2. This is going to get me -0.5. I should know this off the top of my head, but I don't. And my calculator doesn't work because it's dumb. So 2.5 times 0.5. Oh, yes, I definitely should have done that because that's dividing in half. Oh, okay, and it's 1.25 because I multiplied by a negative, and then -2. So now I'm going to plot these points. I'm going to plot -4, -4, 2. So -4, 2. -1, -1/2. Oops, -1/2. And then -1.25. Oh. See, I need you guys here in person so you can deal with my ridiculousness. 1.25, 1.25. And then 4, -2. Right here. Oh, that was horrible. There we go. Okay. So what did this do? Well, that point didn't go up or down. Still went, not going up or down. So that means we just multiplied by something. Well, so let's look at this point right here. That's the point 1, 1. This is the point 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, no. Try again, Kim. 1, 4. This is the point 1, 2, 3, 3, 1, negative 1. This is 3, negative 4. So all that's happening is the y value is being multiplied by 4. So 4 times f of x. This one, I moved it up 1, 2 times. So moving it up 2 times. This one, okay, so we know it's reflected. It's reflected, but how much did it move? Okay, so if this is what it was reflected on, and it would have been like this, didn't it move down 1? So down 1. Okay, this is just the same notes that were up above, that top part. This is the part we're going to look at. This is just like we have order of operations that say PEMDAS, and that tells us what we should be doing. We also have it for transformations. So we do horizontal shifts, stretching and shrinking, reflections, and then vertical shifts are the very last thing that we do. Okay? So I'm going to teach you a way to do this. Okay, so what? Let's first write the equation. How about that? It says a vertical shrink, so that's 1/2, and it has a reflection. Then it has a horizontal shift right, so x, -1, and a vertical shift down, -3. And some of you may be going, oh, that's way too much stuff. And it is. It's a lot of stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to write down the original information. Okay? We're going to write down the original information. So 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's 8, -8, 2. And then we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So -5, 6. And this is -1, 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 5, 8. So what we do to the, and maybe I'll even change the colors on this. Okay. Right here. We're dealing with the number 1. So what we're going to do over here to the x values, we're going to add 1. Because remember, we do the opposite operation of what is inside the parentheses. So we're going to add 1. So -7, -4, 0, and 6. Then for the y values, we do the opposite. But look up here. Don't we do shrinking and stretching before we do reflections? Okay, so that means I need to take, and I need to take 1/2 of my y value. Okay, I'm going to take 1/2 of my y value. So that's going to be 1, 3, 2, and 4. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do reflecting it. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to go negative, 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 negative. Then the last part. What am I going to do? Red. I'm going to take this, so we have the -1/2 y, which we just did, and we're going to subtract 3. So we're going to subtract 3 from this. So -4, -6, -5, and negative 7. So now I'm going to plot these points. We're going to be looking at these two columns. I should do that in like purple or something. We should be doing these two columns. Okay, so the very first point is going to be this one with this one. So negative 7, negative 4. So negative 7, negative 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. The next one is negative 4, negative 6. So negative 4, negative 6. And then the next one, 0, negative 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then last but certainly not least, we have 6, negative 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Negative 7. So then we have this. Okay. So let's try it one more time. I'm going to write f of x. Shouldn't do that. X. Okay, those are the things that aren't changing. The f and the x don't change. Horizontal stretch. So a stretch is going to be 1/3. Reflection, oh, that should be negative. And then, then we just stretch up. All we're doing is a vertical shift up, so +2. So let's write down the original points. So this is 1, 2, 3, negative 3, 3, negative 2, 0, and negative 1, negative 2, and 2, negative 3. Okay, so now we have to do, remember, we're doing the opposite operation. So right now, we're dividing by 3, so we have to times everything by 3. So I'm going to multiply this by 3. So negative 9, negative 6, negative 3, and 6. Then I'm going to take the opposite of each one of those. So plus, 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 minus. Then for the y's, taking y and I'm adding 2. So 5, 2, 0, negative 1. So then I plot my points. So I have 9, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And then I have 6, 2. So 6, 2. And then I have 3, 0. Oh man, this is really, and negative 6, negative 1. That really stretched it out. Look at that. That's a huge vertical or horizontal stretch. Okay. So this one, I'm going to start off with F and X. Those are where I'm starting off at. A vertical stretch of factor of 3. A horizontal reflection. And a vertical shift up. what color I want to do? A vertical shift up 1. Okay, so we're going to start with our points that we've been given. So this is going to be, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't know why I didn't write that. -8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. -5, 3. 1, 2, 3. -3, -1. And 0, 2. So I do my horizontal stuff. So that means I take the opposite. So this is going to be 8, 5, 3, 0. Then I take my y values and I multiply them by 3. So 0, 9, -3, 6. Then I go ahead and I add 1 to those. So 1, 10, -2, 7. This really should be 3y plus 1. Okay, so now, oh, you can't even see that. Pick a different color. 8, 1. That's where I'm starting off. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1. And then 5, 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 3, -2. 1, 2, 3, -2. And 6, 7. Okay, something feels weird. Oh, that's why. 0, 7 is what it should be. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There we go. I'm like, something's a little strange here. And there we have it. And last but certainly not least, again, the F and the, I don't know why I put so much space. The X are the normal things. Okay, so the horizontal shrink by a factor of 2. A vertical reflection. And a vertical shift down. Okay, so again, write down the points that we've been given. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So -8, -2. -2, 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 0, 6. So 6, -3. Okay, so then I'm going to do my vertical stretch because we don't have any other movement on that. So you're going to want to write this, but it's actually, you're taking half of it. Okay, so -4, -1, 0, and 3. Okay, so then over here, I'm going to take the opposite of y. So that's 2, 0, -6, and 3. And then the last part, I'm going to take the opposite of y and I'm going to subtract 4. So I'm subtracting 4 on each one of these. So -2, -4, -10, and -1. So when I look at this, the points I'm looking at, -4, -2. So I'm going to apply at that point. -4, 1, 2, 3, 4, -2. And then -1, -4, -1, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 0, -10. And 3, -1. 3, -1. Okay. Maybe, there we go. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Meant to do this.